National campaign against fake news taken to the doorsteps of Nigerians in diaspora as Nigerian youth charged to embrace small and medium enterprises for an improved Nigerian economy. Plus, studio discussion on hospitality and tourism industry in Nigeria, panacea for economic development. These and more on Panorama today with me, Tessie Justin Bisson. Thanks for joining us. The national campaign against fake news has been taken to the doorsteps of Nigerians in diaspora. The message on the need to discountenance fake news formed part of the minister's engagement in Washington, the United States, when he visited the Nigerian embassy. Anthony Fosin brings us the report.
The minister who arrived at the Nigerian embassy in Washington was received by the Nigerian ambassador, Sylvanus Nsofo. After a brief closed-door interaction, the minister then addressed staff of the embassy. He intimated them on the dangers of fake news, saying, as Nigerians in the diaspora, social media has become their fastest means of getting information, but was quick to warn of the dangers inherent in it.
80% of what you read on social media is fake. You see, when you go by the social media, the impression you are giving is as if Nigeria is at war. The impression you get is as if Muslims are killing Christians. The impression you get is as if there's an ethnic war. There's nothing like that in Nigeria.
He appealed to them to take advantage of the FGNI app on their mobile devices to access authentic news from Nigeria.
For many people, they do not even appreciate what this government has achieved in fighting Boko Haram. And it's only when you take these things in context you begin to appreciate what the government has done.
On farmers' herders clashes, the minister restated that the tempo of killing is reducing and then appealed to them to eschew sentiments as Nigeria is not at war, but that the federal government, he stressed, is committed to bringing to an end the crisis. In Washington, D.C., Anthony Fosin, NTA News.
Associates of President Muhammadu Buhari in Kano are seeking the support and understanding of Nigerians for the re-election bid of the president in the next year's general elections to enable him consolidate successes recorded by his administration and compete on ongoing transformation program that will make the country as economic hub in Africa. This was the submission of speakers at a meeting convened by close associates of President Buhari in Kano to drum support for his re-election. Mohammed Rabi Ali has the details.
The gathering comprised associates of President Buhari for many years that are always willing to identify with number one citizen. Their convergence is a solidarity and show of support to President Buhari, who declared his intention to seek for re-election in next year's general elections. The convener of the meeting, Brigadier General Lawal Jafar Issa, said, as close associates of the president, they are in a better position to ask Nigerians to support his re-election bid.
The way that the government made this country initially and the way it is today, many things have improved in terms of our economy, in terms of our capacity to be able to do many things that will have enhanced the life of the ordinary Nigerian.
Speakers noted with satisfaction the achievement of the APC administration under President Muhammadu Buhari in agriculture, education, fighting corruption, degrading of Boko Haram, infrastructural development, revival of train services, and reconstruction of Kano-Abuja dual carriageway, among others. These, they said, are enough reasons for Nigerians to support the president with another 4-year mandate. From Kano, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, Adamawa State chapter has organized a mega rally in support of former Vice President and a presidential aspirant, Atiku Abubakar, which was attended by party faithful from across the country. Ladibala takes up the story from here.
It was not only a home welcoming for the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, but a moment of pouring encomiums on his leadership style and resolve to make Nigeria great again if given the chance by various speakers who took turn to assure Nigerians that PDP and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar hold answers. That the PDP is now the party of choice. On his part, Atiku Abubakar said if given the mandate, he will end the security challenges and economic hardship Nigerians are faced with. In Eola, Ladibala, NTA News.
The Director General, Voice of Nigeria and chieftain of All Progressives Congress, Osita Okechukwu, has called on former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and all Nigerians to join President Muhammadu Buhari to fight insecurity instead of comparing death toll with those killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. Okechukwu reacted based on lamentations by former Vice President. The Von DG, who believes in the ideals of President Muhammadu Buhari, dismissed the statistics of the former vice president, saying they were unnecessary and inaccurate, adding that what is important is how to stop the killings, cooperation, prayers, information and assistance to the government. He thanked him for acknowledging the massive infrastructural development going on under the Buhari administration. On the public perception that Buhari is not doing enough to stop the large-scale killings, Okechukwu said President Muhammadu Buhari is quietly deploying all means necessary to stop the insecurity in the land, among which is deployment of mission-critical communications system by Motorola Solutions of Illinois, United States of America, an equipment which will put critical information at the fingertips of all the security agencies in Nigeria. He appealed to Nigerians, especially politicians, to cooperate with Mr. President instead of making insecurity a campaign issue. The National Publicity Secretary of All Progressive Congress, APC, Malam Balaji Abdullahi, described the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as being excited with the possibility of hiding its irredeemably bad image under the heap of a new coalition after 3 years in the wilderness. In a statement, Malam Abdullahi said, if the PDP is not alleging wild conspiracies, it is threatening to boycott elections or announcing fake defections, but like the leopard, it cannot change its spots. He added that what President Buhari and Adams Oshomole, the national chairman of the APC, are doing, persuading aggrieved members not to leave the party, is what responsible and sensible party leaders would do. The statement challenged the PDP to face Nigerians on their own merit in 2019 and stop shopping around for supporters. We'll now take a quick break. Panorama continues in a moment. Stay with us.
Had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Thanks for staying with us on Panorama today. I am Tessie Justin Bisong. The hospitality and tourism industry in Nigeria is gradually picking up in meeting the yearnings of stakeholders to take its rightful place as a driving force in Nigeria's desire for multilateral diversified economy. The National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism is the organization with the mandate of providing professional and technical skills to enhance all levels of personnel in the sector. How has NIHOTO fared, you may ask? The Director General, National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism, NIHOTO, Chika Balogun, speaks on these and other issues bothering on the nation's hospitality and tourism industry. It's good to have you join us this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you for having me here.
NIHOTO existed for 30 years without an enabling act until you came on board and got a bill for its legal existence. How has this been and what are the details?
30 years in the making. We started 31 years ago with a tripartite agreement between the ILO, the UNDP, and the federal government of Nigeria. Over the years, successive administrations have tried to get the legal framework and backing for the agency, but we must graciously commend the 8th Assembly for passing the bill establishing the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism. What the bill entails is it gives us the legal backing now to do training up to postgraduate diploma, various courses across the entire hospitality and tourism training spectrum. We also do research and development within the tourism and hospitality industry. We are also now currently to certify and register all personnel that work in the industry. By certification, we're going to verify that the professional qualifications you say you have, you genuinely have them. And if you don't have, that you pursue to get certified at the right levels. We're also going to register all the personnel in the industry. It will be an annual registration that allows you to work in the industry in Nigeria. What it helps government do is to get data for proper planning for hospitality and tourism, so that we're able to say to investors that yes, we have the right capacity and at these numbers across this number of states in Nigeria. This helps for better planning and to attract good investors into Nigeria.
All right, Ma, you're emphatic about training and retraining in the industry. How do you intend to get practitioners in the industry on board, and how easy has it been so far?
I would say the practitioners are well educated. They're businessmen. So first of all, they're looking at making good profits from the business that they do. Right. So they do understand the value of training. However, training is expensive, and traditionally we are not very used to training, especially continuous professional development. And because hospitality is seen as, I can do it, I can lay a bed, I can make some food type of thing. So a lot of it has just gone under the bridge. But I do know that it won't be a challenge convincing the stakeholders that this is now compulsory. You can't employ someone who is not properly certified for the level of operations they're going to do for you. And then if you have those who are not certified, we would encourage that, within the time frame we allow, that you get them to certify. Right. The operators don't need to pay, pay it out. They can pay in advance and then get the money of the salaries at a very reduced rate that allows the employee, go for it. But I'd encourage the industry. Tourism is big business. It is not a joke. It is not just about song and dance. The song and dance actually translates to money. Yeah. And it's what so many countries survive on. There is no reason why Nigeria cannot make sure that tourism becomes the next oil. The business of people moving around, as long as this earth exists, continue to happen. So tourism is a business that is everlasting. I'd encourage our stakeholders to please come on board. It's a win-win situation for all of us. So we're not wielding a big stick. This government is pro-people. This government wants to see excellence in a lot of sectors, and tourism is one of them. So it's not a big stick type of situation. It's a situation where we're going to work together to make sure that this happens and to drive standards as well. These are the kind of issues that keep investors away. What are the standards in your country? Are you guys actually implementing those standards, even if you've agreed to them? Be it our national occupational standards or the ISO standards on tourism, which I happen to be the chairperson for the Mirror Committee in Nigeria. And then when you're done with standards, where's the capacity to deliver on those standards? Where's the capacity to actually deliver excellence to the industry? These are questions that I'm sure stakeholders themselves in their private moments ask themselves, you know, and a lot of hotels start up and in a few minutes they're down. A lot of tour operators start up, in a few minutes they're down. It's not because the people didn't want their businesses to succeed. It's because you can't do it alone, and if you don't have the right manpower, then it's a problem.
Yes, but talking about the National Mirror Committee, which you just mentioned, how is the committee impacting on standardized service delivery?
Absolutely. First of all, it's a gradual process. We started in 2016. The National Mirror Committee was inaugurated in 2016. And our job is to bring Nigerian standards to global standards. What we're looking at is adapting some global standards that fit what we're doing in Nigeria. Of course, the council is made up of all the biggest stakeholders across the entire value chain of tourism. So it's not just hoteliers, it's not just tour operators, but even people in transportation, aviation, statistics, everything, agriculture, the quality of food we serve in our hotels. Everyone is part of the family of tourism, and the council actually deals with all of that. Disability issues, accessibility issues, these are all things that we're bringing to the fore, so that new hotels are not built without accessibility issues taken into consideration from planning going up, you know. So the NMC is working very hard to adapt some of the international standards, but we're also looking at creating standards that meet our cultural needs here in Nigeria. Nigeria is largely culture driven, and we must bear that in mind. So we're not just going to adapt everything that the West is currently doing. We're going to modify some and send it off as our position. Blessedly, most of Africa takes Nigeria's position. So we're working very hard, and I must commend the industry. They have been a backbone, you know, for the NMC, sending in all their comments and making sure they attend meetings. So it's a win-win for us, and I'm looking forward to better days for standardization in Nigeria.
Right. How involved are the youth in, you know, the whole of this mission that you've just talked about, especially given that Nai Hotel recently had a memorandum of understanding on smart job for youth empowerment? How is this innovation coming on?
First of all, Nigeria is largely a young, you know, country in terms of age. So when we're talking about employment issues, job issues, we're basically speaking to young people. And we have almost 100 million of them. So they're our first target in terms of training, in terms of creating jobs for them. Working very closely with partners like the Consolidated Alliance, who have come to us for an MOU on Project Smart Jobs. The idea is to do ICT training online for a lot of people who can't come to traditional classrooms, and then put them into internships across all the sectors, whatever their training requirements have been. And after that, for those who want to, because you might want to get traditional jobs anyway, but for those who want to, using their smartphones, they're able to go online and do real-life transactions and make money from it. Booking hotels, you know, and booking airfares, doing all of the financial transactions you can do within the value chain of the tourism industry, so that you don't necessarily have to be in a particular cubicle office to be able to do your transactions and earn your money. We've successfully piloted it in Edo State, in Benin, with quite a number of young people, over 1,000, you know, within the 2 programs that we did. Many of them are on now and doing transactions. It's going on again in Abuja here, in a center, and we're going to use the 9 centers of Nai Hotel also to deliver the ICT training.
All right, Ma. Thank you very much. That's the very much we can take. We do thank you for coming on Panorama today.
Thank you so much.
And moving ahead, the 2018 budget may have been signed, but given the intricacies and complaints arising from the budget figures, issues are still being thrown up, especially the insertions and cuts by the National Assembly. One of such cuts is the reduction of provisions for unity schools from 5 to 2 billion naira. Rashidat Mustafa Olagujo takes a look at the cut and the effect it will have on infrastructure and security, which the proposed 5 billion was meant for.
In Queen's College, we had serious challenges last year that led to the death of 3 beautiful, promising queens.
We had to survive without water, and it was a very bad experience for all of us.
During water scarcity, a lot of my classmates were fainting, and it was so terrible.
Before this experience by students of Queen's College in Lagos, students of Federal Government Girls College, Efon Alaye, had also suffered similar fate that led to about 300 students being hospitalized as a result of waterborne diseases. Aside this, there have been reported cases of fire incidents in unity schools as well as attacks on secondary schools in some parts of the country. This necessitated the budgetary proposal of the amounts to foster recurrence. Now, the first question asked by interested group is if the initial proposed 5 billion naira could actually address the challenges in these institutions.
Let us start from the premise that budgetary provisions for the education sector in general has been very appalling over the years. Consistently, it has been on the decline. Starting from that premise, then you would understand that 5 billion for 103 unity schools in the country pales into insignificance given the amount of rot in that sector.
Secondly, how will this cut by the National Assembly impact on federal government's plan to secure and provide conducive learning environment to students?
It has a spiral effect. We are already talking of over 10 million out of school children. And that's before the issue of insurgency got to this level where we have the Chibok adoption and then the Dapchi adoption early this year.
The 5 billion naira was meant to procure closed-circuit television cameras, construction of perimeter fences around the schools, and provision of solar power systems and solar-powered motorized boreholes for regular supply of water in the schools. Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju, NTA News.
And now to sports. Team Nigeria at the ongoing 3rd Africa Youth Games in Algiers improves on its